I've lived with bird dogs my whole life, so I've never known anything different. It's part of who I am. It's in my blood. The challenges, the triumphs, the disappointments, even the loss. I've been blessed to train and hunt behind some incredible dogs. So this is a look at that training. It's a story about my family and our dogs, and the grueling yet rewarding climbs that we take in the mountains of Utah every year. This is Wild Upland.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan.
I can't tell you the number of days that have started this way for me. Early mornings spent loading dogs up, packing the truck, and then jumping in alongside my dad as we raced the sun out to our hunt spot. It's been this way since I was a kid. You could probably say I was raised in a kennel. I spent every waking moment that I could with these dogs. And now, over 20 years later, nothing's changed. Today, we're chasing Chukar in the mountains that I call home. An area filled with memories of me, my dad, and some incredible bird dogs.
That road, that's a great entry.
As my kids were growing, they were very involved in sports, and it was hard to have them involved in the hunting because their time was so full of practice and games. And so I would hunt a lot during the week while they were in school. But as the boys got older, we found opportunities to get them out in the hills with me and Chukar hunt, and that was a great thing to share with my boys.
My passion growing up has been with those bird dogs and with my dad running those dogs. And as I got older, I was able to play a much more involved role. Over the last couple of years, I did all of the videoing and editing and things as we built the online website and did all of those training videos. And so I was very hands-on in taking the program we've run for so many years and making it accessible to people. It started a lot of the passion that ended up with me being at Gun Dog here. You know, a lot of those doors opened working with my dad, and they're some of the most incredible animals I've ever worked with. It's a blessing to be able to spend as much time with them as I have throughout my life. This first dog we got here is Ridge. The two dogs we're on today are brothers. So this is Tease Ridge Reaper is his registered name. We call him Ridge. They're 2.5 years old now, 3 years old, right at that age. And he's a finished dog, so he's been through the third cycle. He's finished wing, shot, and fall. So as you watch, after the flush and everything, he'll still be right there on point. And he's tearing it up for us. This one's the future. He's the son of T's gunslinger, and he's who we're going forward with. This one here is my dog. This is Rev. So like I mentioned, they're brothers, but with the work and stuff I've been doing, I haven't had the same time to finish him up. So he's second cycle still. He's not finished wing, shot, and fall, but we've killed a lot of birds over him. He'll hold point for 10 to 15 minutes while we hike to him, lets us get out in front and flush the birds. But as the coveys go, you'll watch he goes with them. He follows the coveys, not standing through the shot and the fall. So a little bit different stages you'll be able to see with these dogs, but work in the same direction. There's a lot of things I feel that really make our Bloodlines special. It's been catered and very specifically bred to do well out west. They're big, strong, powerful animals, and the conformation that we see in these dogs allows them to push up big, steep hills easily. Dogs that are very resilient in the heat and in the cold, that have a lot of bottom to them. Late in long hunts, we run 4 or 5 hours sometimes as we do 12-mile loops. And that final cast, they'll still be digging in there, hitting the next hillside and getting after it. So they're very special physically, but they're also really special to me because I've gotten to see so much of the line as I've grown up. So I've gotten to work behind some of the parents and grandparents of the dogs we're currently running. And so there's a lot of personal sentiment there too. Hey. Chukar hunting means lots of miles for us and even more miles for the dogs. In this big, wide open country, we need dogs that'll range a lot farther than your typical pheasant or quail hunt. Most hunts start by gaining as much elevation as possible, then running ridge lines and letting the dogs work each draw in search of birds.
What I love about the dogs that we're running is that though they are a big running dog and they are a powerful dog and they have a lot of drive and a lot of desire to find game, they want to be your partner. They might be a long ways away, but I know that in their minds, they're still with me. I still see them get up on the ridge line and look to find my direction to make sure that they're going where I want them to go. And that desire in the dog to be part of the team is one of the things that I've just grown to really love about the dogs that we're running.
You can see we just made the big pull up that mountainside, so we're up on top now. You can see that ridge running out behind us. So once you're up top like this, you just run the ridges as far as you can. As the sun starts to warm up these hillsides, it'll pull the air up from the valley. And as you run along the top, the dogs can get a good scent of what everything is going on below them and move down on coveys if they're down there, but they like to sit up here in these saddles as you go from point to point. So we'll run this ridge out and see what we can get done.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs, and by Browning, the best there is. Fiocchi, your upland ammo for every pursuit. Onyx, know where you stand. Lucky Duck, loyalty goes both ways. And by Final Rise, premium upland gear.
The mountains of Utah are home to me. It's where I was raised and where I had all my first hunts as a kid. And though they're not as abundant as in other places, if you're willing to put in the work, there's Chukar here. It takes a real special dog to hunt them though. A dog that's willing to dig out the front a couple hundred yards, but still connected enough to you to make the turn and hold birds for sometimes 15 minutes while you hike to it. To get a dog that really is a Chukar hunting expert, I think is one of the most challenging things that there is in the dog training world. And that's very challenging to learn as a hunter how to hunt these animals because they're in terrain that's very physically demanding.
If they're not up, especially with the wind cutting like this, they could be on the back side of these, or they could be tucked down inside.
A lot of the states around have a much higher bird density where you can go on a 5-6 mile loop and get 5 or 6 finds. And here in Utah, I know a lot of guys that do a 10-mile push to run into 2 coveys. But they're a very difficult bird to get a dog that really knows how to handle Chukar well, that knows how to get them pinned from above so that they don't just keep running up the hill, and knows how to stand them off far enough that they have them pinned down, but that they don't push them off.
If I'm gonna do the things that I wanna do with my dog when it's at 800 yards, I need a dog that's very connected. I need a dog that wants to be my companion. It wants to be my partner, it wants to be my teammate, and it's always looking to me to receive direction on where we're going and what we're doing. And that makes these dogs special because they can do the extreme things, but they'll do the extreme things as my teammate.
Getting a dog's mind right starts at a very young age. At my dad's kennel, also known as T's Doghouse, the next generation of great setters is already being formed. We can pitch them from one to the other. Hey, here.
As I started to hunt wild birds, and run young puppies in the wild birds, I started to see patterns. And I'd run these dogs and I'd be encouraged to just let them run and just let them find birds and let Mother Nature start teaching this dog. So I'd watch the dog, and as it had more contacts and the birds were flushing and getting away, then the dog would start to point. And then as it started to point, it would start to realize there was a great reward for pointing. And then you could go to the dog, you could start shooting birds, and that would make a connection where the dog wanted to point birds and realized if it waited for you to come along, you would shoot the birds. So I realized that there was a natural progression that would happen with these dogs, but it might take 4 years before it became really dependable on pointing birds for you to go and to shoot.
And when we make an adjustment and change where the front is, then they all just know how to get to the front, because that's where all the action is.
I think that the most valuable aspect our program provides for these dogs is in the way it shapes their mind. In the end, we end up shaping physical behaviors as well. It's not just a cookie cutter formula, but we're trying to help people understand what they want from their dog and what they need to do to see that happen. It's about helping you understand how their mind works so that you can shape whatever behavior it is you're looking for. If you want the dog that's gonna be right by your side as you go in and flush birds, you can have that. If you want the dog that's gonna stand way off and stand like a statue as birds flying or shot and then release them for the retrieve afterwards, you can do that too. It also teaches a dog mentally how to think about the game.
And then it's things like this. You love on them, you show them that it's great to have fun toys with you. And then as you start to throw that, naturally they're gonna wanna bring it back to this place and to you because you're part of the fun and this place is where all the fun starts, right?
I write a column for Gun Dog Magazine called Training and Behavior. I'm mostly discussing a dog's behavior and how we can affect their behavior with our actions, because when we're working with our dogs, all change in the dog starts with change in us.
So you notice with that pup, he was hesitant to come back over to me because he didn't want to lose his toy. So spending a little bit of time with them, with their toy, is important so that they think you're a fun guy to share with.
So when we're trying to create changes and we're trying to teach our dogs something, we always take action first and the dog follows. That's my passion. I love thinking of how to shape a mind or shape the way the dog perceives the world. And that is dog training in a nutshell.
So at this stage, they've played this game quite a bit. But with the really young dogs, we'll even wait for them to drop it, right? That we're not taking the toy from them, but once they're with us, we'll love on them, we'll pick them up. And if they drop the toy, then that's when we'll pick it up and toss it again.
The result is a bird dog who is still tuned into my commands, even when he's hundreds of yards across to draw.
Dogs move. They're both in there.
Yeah, we got some over here now. Consistently having great bird dogs really only comes through having great bloodlines. I was blessed to grow up around some of the best. These dogs are all products of field trial champions, phenomenal bird dogs, and decades of breeding on my dad's part. Slinger was one of these special ones. His registered name was Tease Gunslinger, and that's a name you'll see come up on the pedigree of almost every dog we have. He was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of dog, and we lost him just a few days before this hunt. It made it real special to get to hunt behind some of his most promising sons for this episode.
And Tease Gunslinger's been he's been the backbone of everything that I've had the opportunity to enjoy this last 14 years. He passed away a couple days ago. But that dog was he was a life-changing dog. What he did for me and taught me, and then all the many, many offspring that I've run from him, you know, that's where I really learned everything I know, built the program that we try to help teach other people. I've got dogs in the kennels that we've owned their parents for 7 generations now, but they all key mainly around Tease Gunslinger.
My dog's Rev. His registered name is Tease Full Throttle. He's a son of Tease Gunslinger, and he's the brother of Tease Ridge Reaper, which is the ridge dog that my dad's going forward at this point in time. Bloodlines that are strong and very well known here out west, and he's an unbelievable animal. With all the work and training other people's dogs and stuff, it's too bad he's kind of taken a back seat for the past couple of years. I've gotten him out a good bit, and he's very experienced on wild birds, but some of the technical training with the 3rd cycle hasn't been completed yet, so you'll see that as he runs with Ridge, that he's, once the birds go, he goes, you know, real classic 2nd cycle, but a very polished 2nd cycle dog where he's had a lot of bird contacts. We've killed a lot of birds over him, and he's really tearing it up. I'm very excited about him, really excited for the future and everything that holds, because he's a special, special animal.
The 1st cycle is taking the dog, essentially using pigeons, where they get to chase birds and get excited about birds and learn to point birds. And then they learn that if they'll hold the birds till I get out in front of them and shoot a bird, then they'll have the chance to get their mouth on that bird. And then we go through the 2nd cycle, which is moving what we've taught them on the pigeons into the wild birds. And in that 1st season, we move them along that process so that they are handling wild birds just like they did the pigeons. That means they're pointing birds and letting us walk to them and flush the birds and shoot them. And then we come home from that and we start the third cycle, where we steady the dog and we teach it what whoa means. And we start to teach it that we'd like it to stand after the birds fly off and wait for us to release it. And you have a finished dog that's finished to wing, shot, and fall.
That move that Ridge made down the ridges into here, and as he saw we came down these ridges, he swung out in front of us here and then headed down through. And that's the knowledge that we build into the dog, starting with the tires, is how to read our movement and the direction we're going, and then picking their pattern to cover the area to the front of us.
So if we can get back into that corner, we know they'll have water off the ag, good cover and rocks up top. I think we could get into them.
I think that point right there is where you get right up into the state ground there.
Okay, yeah, so we've got a bunch of different pieces if we can kind of hop from spot to spot.
The country is very big, it's very steep, it's very rugged, and so you need dogs that aren't afraid to get out there away from you. The way the country rolls, you might be running a ridge line that has a lot of finger ridges and draws coming off of it.
Come on, Rev, get them found, buddy.
But if you have a dog that's willing to dig in there, suddenly they can get down and canvas some of those draws better, make sure they're getting those updrafts and knowing what's down below them, and then also get out in front of you and know what's farther down the ridge and really canvas it well. And it's neat to see as they start to learn how to do that, because you'll watch a dog roll out the ridge in front of you and over a peak and over another peak, and then as you're starting to get closer, 500, 600, 700 yards away, you'll watch them make a move down a big ridge and then go over the edge, and then by the time you get back, they're back up and moving to the front again. So they're really covering country in a very efficient and very neat way to watch.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
Late season chukar hunting can be a real challenge. These birds have been hunted all year long, and so they know all the tricks. But watching my young dog learn and grow and develop on these running, jumpy birds makes those challenges all worth it.
Ridge is going down in front of us. We should let him get the ridges on. See, right in front of us. There goes another one. Dang it, that was quick. I don't think I got on it. Ah, too low.
With that second day, we had a lot of awesome finds. We had a lot of great dog work. It was very fun to see Rev as he started to put the pieces together. I've been working a lot on his pattern over the past number of outings this fall. And he's starting to figure out how to keep to the front, how to stay in there, and not circling, not looping, a lot of the pattern things that he was doing as we came out of the summer. And getting that fixed, and then watching him learn how to dig deep, where he'd show up on a ridge 400 yards away, I'd hit the whistle and he'd roll back in there. Didn't want to recall all the way back to us anymore. Unfortunately, dogs holding birds is only half of that challenge. When the birds do come up within range, they're flying like it's Top Gun. You're shooting at flashes of chukars, they zip between trees, dive over the edge of cliffs, or buzz the grass heading into the next canyon. There was a find we came up on where we came up over a hill, and he was working the far hillside. And then I watched as his head elevated and he started getting into that scent cone and worked the birds all the way down into the bottom of the ravine. A good 100 yards or so, he worked those birds, and then he locked up on point. We got down in there, we were able to flush and had a great backing situation where Ridge came in and backed him, and it was just picturesque. Birds blew up from the bottom and we were able to get some shots off. It was a phenomenal piece of work.
Shoot! What?
Oh, come here,
I
Rev.
should have run out on that point.
Come here, Rev.
We had a number of other great pieces of work. Ridge had a piece where we came over the top and he was already on them down in the bottom. So as we worked through the junipers up on the ridge line, we finally were able to see him. And he was just cranked up, standing all majestic, poker straight tail. It was a classic piece of setter work, and they're a beautiful dog to watch do it. Unfortunately, I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. It's frustrating for me to see these dogs work so hard to get us on birds and then for me not to get my job done. It's nice that he doesn't ever seem upset about it, but I still lose sleep knowing that I let my dog down. I feel terrible every time I come back from a hunt where my dog did his job and I didn't uphold my end of the agreement. I didn't hit my birds. It sucks. Like, that's a rough hunt to go on because, especially with something like this where it was picturesque, they performed it perfectly. I couldn't have asked anything more of my dog.
I love training my own dogs, and I love sharing with other people the knowledge I have to help them have success training their own dogs. I love seeing other people start that journey and start to have those companions that they'll look back on their whole life and remember the hunts and the experiences they've had and the relationship that they had with that animal.
It's really neat for me to be able to get out here with my dad and run these dogs, especially this trip, having just lost Slinger. To lose him was, it was rough this past week, and it was the end of an era for all of us. And so it was neat to be able to then get out so soon afterwards with the next era, with the next dogs that we're bringing up, and then to be able to see how well they did today. I mean, we couldn't have asked anything more of these dogs. They did phenomenally. And it really makes me excited to really show the world their talents and showcase their abilities in a neat way.